Ms. Sanderson, I'd like to continue with you as well. In your experience, what are you seeing as emerging trends among women entrepreneurs in a certain, similar to the question I asked previously, where do you see certain types, the trajectory of certain types of opportunities and success stories emerging? Can they be quantified to a particular set of opportunities? Is it a continuum of things? And what are the barriers in terms of, what are the resources that are giving rise to certain sets of entrepreneurial opportunities for women that you work with? What other barriers are out there that are prohibiting or limiting entrepreneurial opportunities for the sector in which you work with? Mm-hmm. In other words, what are your success stories, if there's a general pattern of them, and do you see those being duplicated and continuing to grow versus other opportunities that might be on the continuum of things that are available?
You know, the program is set up as a center. We're a center. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we're kind of like the switchboard operator where we can really direct people to other resources that might suit their needs better, like the Veterans Program. We have a Veterans representative, a permanent position on our board of directors, specifically for the purpose of being that switchboard operator to direct them to the other resource partners that might better serve their needs. So that's an important distinction, I believe, of the program, that we are a center and a resource for all women. I do think that women have some very specific and unique characteristics. They are risk adverse. So they, are afraid to get a loan and afraid to sign the collateral because they know that they'd have to sign their collateral for their house, and that's very scary for women. So that's a unique feature for women business owners. Also, the issue of isolation. Many women start home-based businesses, and that's unique to women. And also support, the support piece. Our program focuses on critical skills, knowledge, tools, and support. And what I find is for the women that support element to our program is really what they need. Is they need ongoing, continual help in kind of a continuum of care. So wherever they come to us, whether it's early stage entrepreneur or middle stage, or really looking, to sustain and grow and get another loan and expand and take advantage of some of the capital 504 programs. It's really that continuum of ongoing care, step by step, that is really important to them.
It's interesting that you mentioned home-based businesses, and I just want to bring this up in a larger context because the last hearing we held, if I recall correctly, what we were trying to do is identify clear burdens or barriers to entry for entrepreneurs, and there are many of those outside the traditional bounds of what we think of. We tend to quantify them as capital. Mr. Carroll, you do a real good job of identifying the four key ones. I think it's capital, technology, regulatory, and education, if I recall correctly. But there are other issues out there that could smooth the pathway. And let's just pick up with home-based businesses, for instance. Are there tax code changes that could be made to allow this to be a little bit easier for people to take advantage of the potential tax deductions that are available? That's one. Are we encouraging, or are real estate laws such, our deductibility on real estate laws such that we give a disincentive in a certain sense to wiring through technology so that we can have extended workplace, either hours or distant locations of work? I think these are the types of questions that we need to look at as drivers underneath or impediments underneath what could be much more flourishing opportunities in entrepreneurships, given the constraints that exist in certain communities. We talked about disabled veterans. There might be certain constraints for women entrepreneurs, and you've identified some of them that other initiatives might help take care of. So I was trying to get at that point as well earlier, and that's why I wanted you to expand upon, do you see a certain trajectory of opportunity that is fitting the niche that you're working with?
I do, and for us, and having been a woman business owner, we start with the business plan. Having been in business for 10 years myself without a business plan, I think the fallacy of the plan is you only write it to get money. But the reality is I may still be in business had I had a plan with accurate financial projections. So, we work real hard on trying to set a distinction between a hobby and a business. And we serve a lot of hobbies. Dolly's Donuts out of her kitchen is very different than someone who has capital and is renting space and has employees and is really trying to pay back their loan and trying to grow and get the core business skills necessary. And our program focuses on core business skills and what's really necessary. And then we focus on their area of deficiency. If they're weak in marketing, we get them marketing help. And if they're weak on finance, we match them up in a one-on-one program, a coaching program we have with experts that focus on that deficiency. And to get them the knowledge that they need for tax purposes, we partner with our state and our local experts in that to bring that kind of educational entrepreneurial training to them.
Thank you. One other impediment that we haven't discussed on that's probably worthy of a hearing in of itself is the issue, and we've had them in the larger committee, but the issue of how the health insurance lack of availability or portability impedes entrepreneurial opportunity, is a real productive drain in society because it basically chains a person to whatever institution they may be with that is providing them health insurance and does not allow a shift into what they would desire, what they would socially prefer in terms of risk-taking, and that's a topic for another day. But Mr. Yancey, I want to say thank you for your work with SCORE. I think it's probably our nation's oldest effort in this regard and well-established. It was in Norfolk, Nebraska recently to celebrate 3 entrepreneurs. One was a new barbecue business. One was a person who was doing marketing through her home on the internet, and there was another business, but it was a celebration of the SCORE chapter's work in one of my primary rural communities. In that regard, I think it's important also to point out that sometimes the answer is no, and this is very important as well to properly allocate scarce resources in a society, whether or not the capital is not adequately there, whether or not the technological barriers have been overcome, whether or not there's sufficient understanding of how to market or account or lay out a business plan, leads sometimes to the answer being no, this is not a good fit for you. Because being in business, particularly an entrepreneurial business, is risky. It is a heavy lift. It takes not only a deep passion and a long view, but a lot of things to line up accordingly.